Greetings, YouTube. The Doctor is in. Dr. Urias Papers here, coming at you with another commentary on Dungeons and Dragons. And welcome back to the channel that brings power gaming to the next level. Today on the Doctor Spell Prognosis, we are talking about the spell Shape Change. But first, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. If you like this video, hit the like button. If you have any questions or comments, please leave a question or comment. And don't forget to hit that notification bell. All right. So Shape Change is a 9th level spell that is usable by druids and wizards. We are giving this an A. Bards can also pick this spell up, but I don't believe that warlocks can, because Mystic Arcanum is limited to warlock spells, and this is not on the warlock list. All right, takes one action. It's a range of self, verbal, somatic, and material component. The material component does cost money, but it doesn't go away. So you get a jade circlet, 1,500 gold pieces, you stick it on your head, and then you use that. It lasts for an hour. It does require concentration. You do absolutely want to concentrate on this spell, so you assume the form of a different creature for the duration. The new form can be of any creature with a challenge rating equal to or lower than your level, which means that by the time you get this spell, it will be CR 17 or lower, possibly CR 18, 19, or 20. So the creature cannot be a construct or undead, and you must have seen the sort of creature at least once. Now, what does that mean? That you need to work that out with your DM. Seen it in a book, actually seen it, that kind of thing. So you need to understand that. Now, maybe you've met somebody who can make an illusion of it, and then you can see that, and that counts because it looks pretty real. But, you know, it's up to your DM. Maybe your DM is going to say, yes, you have to have seen the live creature because you need to have seen it in action to know what it can do and all that kind of thing. So you transform into an average example of that creature, one without class levels or the spell casting trait. So there's a lot of creatures that have the word spell casting in their stat block. You will not get those. Particularly in my game, you won't get those. And that, again, you need to talk to your dungeon master about that. Your game statistics are replaced by the statistics of the chosen creature, though you retain your alignment, your intelligence, wisdom, and charisma. That's great. You also retain all of your skills and saving throw proficiencies. You get your skills, so you're trained in those skills, you're proficient in them, and then you're proficient in your own saving throw proficiencies, but your physical traits are replaced. So your dexterity saving throw might go up or down depending on what you're turning into. In addition to gaining those of the creature, so you also gain the skill and saving throw proficiencies of the creatures. It's great. It's like double the amount. If the creature has the same proficiency as you and the bonus listed in the statistics is higher than yours, you use the creature's bonus in place of yours. You cannot use legendary actions or layer actions of the new form. I just want to point out, legendary resistance is not a legendary action. So legendary action is a separate stat block in a creature. So if you pick a creature that has both legendary resistance and legendary action, you should be able to use the legendary resistance, but you won't be able to use the legendary actions. You assume the hit points and hit dice of the new form. When you revert to your normal form, you return to the number of hit points you had before you transformed. Yeah, it's the same stuff as polymorph. So basically, it gives you the armor of the new creature in hit points. If you go to 0, you transform back, and excess damage goes over. So as long as the excess damage doesn't reduce you to 0, you don't go unconscious. So you retain the benefits of, this is a great one, if you retain the benefits of any feature from your class, race, or other source and can use them, provided that the new form is physically able of doing so. That is, doesn't have hands and things like that you might need to use with particular class features or race features. You cannot use any special senses you have unless your new form also has that sense. You can only speak if the creature can normally speak. So when you transform, you choose whether your equipment falls to the ground, merges into the new form, or is worn by it. Worn equipment functions as normal, but it has to be able to wear it. So the GM determines whether it is practical for the new form to wear a piece of equipment based on the creature's shape and size. Your equipment doesn't change shape or size to match new form. So if you turn into something gargantuan or colossal, and you've got medium armor on, that's not going to work. or like a ring. That's also not going to work. So any equipment that the new form cannot wear must fall to the ground or merge into the new form. Equipment that merges has no effect in that state. During the duration, you can use your action to assume a different form following the same restrictions and rules for the original form, with one exception. If your new form has more hit points than your current form, your hit points remain at the current value. All right, pros and cons of this spell. One action is a pro. It lasts for an hour. That's a pro. Although I wish it kind of would last a little bit longer, but at least it doesn't last something stupid like 10 minutes. You can transform into something equal to or less than your current level in CR, which is great. You keep your intelligence, wisdom, and charisma. You keep your personality. You keep your skill and save proficiencies. That's great. And they kind of stack with the creature that you're turning into. You get the higher of either two. You retain your benefits from your class and your race. That is massive. And then you can continuously change shape during the hour to other things. The hit points don't carry over. Okay, so cons. There is a material component to this. It is 15 gold pieces. It's not consumed. It's very minor. This does require concentration, so if you get slammed with a whole bunch of damage, you'll be losing this spell, which that's unfortunate because it's a 9th level spell. You can't turn into undead, and you can't turn into constructs, and there's a lot of really good undead and constructs. So you don't get legendary actions, you don't get layer actions, you don't get spell casting. That's a big one. You don't get any spell casting. And then your hit points do not carry over into a new form if you form a new form. So you can't just like spam changing into a whole bunch of different stuff and then reset the hit points every time. So, but you should change into something that has a whole bucket load of hit points to it to begin with, and that way, if you do revert over, then that will go through. So if your new form has more hit points than your current one, your hit points remain. So if you change it to something that has 300 hit points, and you take 50 damage, so you're down to 250 hit points, and then you transform it into something that has 225 hit points, then you're going to be at 225 hit points, so that should be okay. All right, so let's talk about some monsters to turn into. I picked out some specific ones. So here we have the Storm Herald, which is a challenge rating 17 creature. Again, you need to have seen this. You need to talk to your DM about this. This is from Glory of the Giants. There is spell casting in this, so we could ignore this block. It's amphibious. It has magic resistance. It is immune to lightning and thunder, resistant to cold and psychic. It's got some pretty good saving throw proficiencies. It's immune to charm and frightened. It's got some decent vision. And it's got this multi-attack. It makes 1 claw, 1 tentacle, and 1 trident. It does a decent amount of damage with everything. The big one that I'm focusing on here is this Psychic Wave ability. And it's a DC 21 intelligence saving throw. Up to 3 creatures that can see within 90 feet, it does damage. And they're stunned for 1 minute. That's a biggie. That's a biggie. Now, this is a recharge on a 6, so once you use it, you may not get it again. But this is the biggie right here. It does a little bit of damage, but the stunned condition is pretty massive. The next one is the Omnizu, which is a fiend. This is a challenge rating 18, so you need to be 18th level. It's got Devil Sight, magic resistance. It's got a whole bunch of damage resistances. It's got a whole bunch of damage immunities, charmed and poisoned. It's got a whole bunch of proficient saving throws. And then it's got this multi-attack. So it uses its Blinding Rot or Forgetfulness if available. It also makes 2 Taskmaster whip attacks. So you go Blinding Rot, which is a wisdom save, or they're blinded. It's blinded until the start of their next turn. Or Forgetfulness, which is a recharge on a 6. And again, it's an intelligence saving throw. They take a little bit of damage and they're stunned. That's another biggie, stun. We can ignore the spell casting. It gets these reactions. So whenever a creature within 60 feet makes an attack and another creature within the attack range, the attacker must make a wisdom saving throw. These are really hard to make. On a failed save, the attacker must target the creature that is closest to it. So there you go. And then its whip attacks are okay. They're okay. They're doing force damage, so that's okay. This thing's pretty cool because it's got this stunned and this blinding. A Troll Amalgam. This is pretty cool. It's gargantuan. So the Amazu has 202 hit points. The Storm Herald has 287. The Troll has 217. It's got a climb speed. It's got resistance to a whole bunch of stuff, condition immunities, pretty good senses. It's got a couple saving throw proficiencies. You get the legendary resistance, you get the magical resistance, you get the regeneration. It does 3 rend attacks, pretty decent damage, and then it can do fling limb 3 times per day, which will grapple. So if it hits, it automatically grapples, and then it'll start to do damage. So that's a pretty cool one. And those are just some examples. I mean, there's more. In the thumbnail I mentioned there's more than Beholder. Of course, you can choose Beholder. But of course, there's, if we look at challenge rating 16 creatures, there's a lot of different dragons. Challenge 17, there's dragons. There's an adult gold dragon or an adult red dragon. There's blue dragon here, silver dragon. There's all kinds of stuff that you can think of. So, you just got to go through. I'm looking for things that are going to lock opponents down, like stuns or blinds or things like that, or paralysis. Can't do undead, unfortunately. So, now for classes, of course, I like the Divination Wizard because we get the 3 portents at this level. You can use these because you get to keep using this particular feature. There's no reason that a creature couldn't use this. You're still got your mental abilities, so you can hit something with that stun and then make them fail the saving throw, and they're stunned. And it's going to be very hard for them to get out, especially if it's a wisdom or an intelligence save. For druids, I actually like the Spore Druid on this because your Halo of Spores and such is still going to be active, and it's going to do a little bit of extra damage. So you've got this 1d10 at 14th level. It is a reaction use, which I think is kind of dumb. But you gain the ability to channel magic, and as an action you can spend your use of Wild Shape. It doesn't really mean that you can't use that. You get that feature still. And then your spores do an extra dice of damage, and each one of your melee attacks does an extra necrotic damage. You still get your fungal infestation, your spreading spores, pretty good, and your fungal body. So I think all of that goes along a lot with these shape change creatures. All right, well, that's what I got for everybody today. I appreciate everybody tuning in, and I will catch everybody later.